Kia ora koutou, welcome to Face to Face. So we're trying something new, folks. We're going to bring in three.
We haven't even started.
No, I'm hitting the thing anyway by mistake. We're bringing in the three top mayoral candidates here in Wellington: Jo Coughlan, Nick Leggett, and Justin Lester, to have a chat about some of their policies. And that little noise you just heard, some farm noises I brought in just in case things stray too much into the politics, because we're all about the policy and the evidence here at Morgan Foundation rather than political platitudes. So if you hear animal noises, that's my cue to get back to the back on point. We have with us today the wonderful Jo Coughlan. Welcome along.
Thanks very much. Hi.
And you were saying, Jo, that you're a Mainlander originally. How long have you been in Wellington?
Yeah, well, 25 years.
Wow.
And all the children born and bred here. 70 years of Wellington education between them, so I think we might be nearly local now.
70 years. That's
there are 6 of them, of
That's
course.
Scary to think about. Yeah, great. And so I just want to give you a chance, Jo, to really talk about what do you see as being, what would be really different under having you as mayor?
Well, look, I think I bring to the table a very, I'm great at working with across the board. I've voted for and, with and against pretty much everybody around the table on lots of different issues. Sometimes I've been in a little committee of one.
Everyone hates you equally, is
yeah,
that?
Well, no, everyone hates me, loves me equally. No, look, I've been leading the economic portfolio for the last 6 years and have actually demonstrated the ability to bring all the councillors on board with that. We've had pretty much unanimity all the way through, and that's been fantastic. And I think one thing with me is that I understand family, I understand community, I understand business, and absolutely understand being on the council because this is my 3rd term. And as you know, I'm an independent and I'm not standing for council again. So it's, really going from chair of economic to really mayor. So I think it's just a very broad base of experience across business, across community and family. And I think that's useful to have around the table. And
so with that economic plan in mind, what are your big economic ideas for Wellington?
Well, look, I really want to carry on with a lot of what we've been doing, actually. We set an economic development strategy in place back in 2012, and we've got some big runs on the board now with the long-haul flight heading out coming in actually on the 21st of September, and then going back to Singapore, which is very exciting. We've co-funded the resource consent for the airport extension. A lot of water to go under the bridge with that program, but really good that I think that we're going through the process. We've got the Film Museum and the Convention Centre signed off. Very exciting, $150 million project for the city. We've set up the Tech Hub in Tory Street, and we've got a $2.5 billion tech sector here, which is fantastic, 15,000 jobs. So we need to be celebrating that and promoting and growing that. There's been some great results for Wellington, 10,000 new jobs in the last 5 years, and actually our CBD GDP growth has outstripped Auckland. So for me...
Take that, Auckland.
Boom, that's right. So for me, it's about the next set of projects that really need to be focused on. I mean, I've made it very clear that I've got a roadmap for Wellington's future, and really very keen to secure that $1 billion worth of funding from government for the Wellington's roading projects. I think, transport's an exciting, there's some exciting developments there, but, we still need roads and tunnels for electric vehicles and buses and bikes and private cars to go on. So I really think it's time to sort out that infrastructure. I want to promote Wellington a lot more, particularly...
So just on the road thing, Jo,
yep.
I mean, so that's obviously been, quite a big part of the campaign.
Yep.
And, I mean, so, of course, people out there are probably a bit confused because it's national government that really has the roading money.
Absolutely.
So what are you going to do that will really change the game there?
So one of the things over the last 25 years, I've worked in and around government pretty much with everybody cross-party, both as a press secretary in Parliament when I was working for the Foreign Minister, Sir Don McKinnon, and in recent years as a government relations and public relations specialist. So the thing is that the signals have been from government, Wellington, the money is here for you to spend on your roading infrastructure. But actually, we have not seized that opportunity, and that money is contestable funding and actually will be spent elsewhere potentially if we don't seize it, because there's clearly pressure on the Finance Minister and the government to spend it in Canterbury or to spend it in Northland or to spend it, wherever else basically. So what I'm saying is I think the flyover decision was an interesting decision for Wellington. I think a lot of people thought there was a plan B if that didn't work, but in fact there is no plan B, and obviously we're going through this Let's Get Welly Moving process now to see what can be done around the basin and with transport in general. But look, it's really about, I think, making a very clear signal to government that we do want to get on with these projects and we do want to get this infrastructure built for Wellington, because otherwise the money will go elsewhere.
So the Let's Get Welly Moving project is really trying to bring NZTA and different councils together to discuss these issues. I mean, they might. Who knows what solutions they're going to come up with? They could come up with anything. If they don't come up with roads, are you going to go with that, or?
Oh, I think it's highly unlikely. I mean, but who knows? But look, I think I've made it very clear that I really want to. Look, I'm sick of getting stuck in traffic at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, taking my kids to sport games. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're driving in from Silverstream and it takes 10 minutes to get to the port, and then it takes 40 minutes to get to Evans Bay to watch your other son playing rugby. I mean, people are. They can't understand why, and this is the people that I speak to, and pretty much on a daily basis, they're frustrated and they really can't understand why we have to be putting up with this kind of congestion when when there is potentially a solution. And I think everybody's aware of the the impacts on the planet and the impacts on the city of building additional roading and what have you. But the reality is that with the electrification of vehicles and particularly, there's also autonomous vehicles coming on stream. I don't actually, I know the argument is there that there'll be potentially less vehicles on the road, but I'm struggling to see how that'll be the case, and particularly given, the demands that have been on our family over the last, number of years with getting kids to after school activities. I mean, jeepers, if they've got driverless cars, why wouldn't you get a fleet?
6 cars? You think you'll have 6 cars, 6 driverless
well,
cars?
why not? Save having to, do all that. Look, the reality is that that we don't want to be like Auckland. We do not want to be like Auckland, and I'm not talking about Spaghetti Junction, but I do think 4-laning Ruahine out to the airport, particularly if we're looking at an airport extension, we have to have the roads to get there.
It's good that you mentioned Auckland, though, because Auckland has gone down a road-based, development option, and Wellington's always been quite strong on the public transport. I mean, do you think? Well, are there any cities that you see as a vision for having solved the congestion problem through roads?
Look, just on the public transport, I think public transport is incredibly important. And, if you have a look at my, my manifesto, and also if you have a look on Scoop or wherever else you'll be sussing out, finding out what people think about things, you'll see that, I'm totally in support of a balanced transport system. I mean, as I say, I've got this big family. I've spent more on public transport around the council table than anyone has in the last 9 years. I mean, that's how the children get to school. That's how, it's a crucial part of our lives. So I'm absolutely into public transport, and Wellington is blessed with a very good public transport system. So we certainly need to develop that and have that working extremely well, so that that's an option for people. But at the end of the day, I do think it is also a bit about choice, and there will always be a need for people to drive private vehicles. So in terms of a city that I'm modelling this on, no, at the moment I think perhaps we could be leading the way, but I don't know.
Great, thanks for your time, Jo Coughlan. Thanks for watching that right till the end. If you'd like to stay in touch with what we do here at the Morgan Foundation, click here or visit us at morganfoundation.org.nz. Ideas to action.